head of the OSCE presence in Tirana said that the June 30 local elections may be recognised by the ODIHR even if the opposition does not participate. The opposition continues to give no signal of participating in the June 30th local elections. From Shkodra, Monika Kuramadi said that they cannot be in corrupted electoral processes. The opposition intends to protest in front of the Assembly Hall at the next session expected to take place. Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Tuesday, the 19th of March 2019. Welcome to RTV Ora's English edition of the news. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country, translated into English. The OSCE presence head in Albania, Bernd Borchardt, expressed concern that the political crisis in Albania could affect the region as well. In introducing the master's program in the field of criminology, he stressed that the burning of the mandates by the MPs of the Democratic Party and its allies not only undermines the parliamentary system. I call on all parties to submit the lists of candidates. We do not incite electoral boycott. For a long time, Albania has been the pillar and the symbol of stability in the region, and now they are faced with an unprecedented action, declared Borchardt. The June 30th elections may be recognised by the OSCE, even if the Democratic Party and its allies do not participate. The head of the OSCE in Albania said that recognising the results will depend on the findings of the OSCE ODIHR monitoring mission. When questioned whether or not the parliament should continue with reform discussions without the presence of the opposition, Borchardt responded, "Legally, yes. Whether it's politically wise is a different question, but we must progress with dialogue and I encourage dialogue." Borchardt's statement comes just one day after the opposition refused to present the list of commissioners for local elections, warning of boycotting of the polls. Chair of the Socialist Movement for Integration, Monika Kuramadi, responded to the comments from the OSCE presence regarding the local elections, expressing the conviction that this process is simply passive in terms of vote buying through criminal groups. After a meeting with the citizens in Shkodra, the chair of the Socialist Movement for Integration said that it is impossible to get involved in the race without first guaranteeing free and fair elections. There cannot be local elections when there is a deformation of the process in the form of the sale of the vote through criminal groups or through money derived from criminal activity. Elections are nothing more than a very transient technical issue. If we do not have free and fair elections, it will be totally impossible, said Kuramadi. Earlier, Kuramadi stated that the protests will continue, not just in Tirana, but across the country. In addition to the great protest that we will make in Tirana, we will go to every city of Albania. We will meet and talk with them to discuss their problems, stated Kuramadi. On the other hand, the Socialist Party has submitted the names for the members of the Electoral Election Commission to the CEC. The opposition will return to protests in front of the parliament to demand the removal of the Rama government. In the late hours of Monday, the organisational secretariat notified the structures, requesting the mobilisation of protesters on Thursday at 9:30 a.m. in front of the Assembly Hall. According to this message, which has been distributed to all branches and organisational structures, the decision to protest on Thursday was made yesterday at Lulzimbasha, met with the party branches. In addition to the protest in front of the Assembly Hall, the Democratic Party will also protest in districts, while the possibility of further mass protests in front of the Prime Ministry continues to be assessed. Arriving at the University of Durrës, Interior Minister Sandor Leshaj was received amid protests as organised by a group of opposition supporters and students. A young man, identified as Ndrec Pietri, met with Minister Sandor Leshaj and told him that he should not bother travelling around Albania as he is a minister of an illegitimate government. In replying to the minister, he implied that he was part of the opposition protests in Tirana where tear gas was used, an issue which neither the minister nor the students could avoid. Critical calls against the mayor of Durrës, Vanjush Dako, were not lacking either. Earlier, Minister Leshaj was in a meeting with the authorities operating at the port of Durrës, during which he stressed the need for urgent intervention to improve the issues there. We need to be very clear that the need for improvement in the Port of Durrës is extraordinary. Despite the improvements that can be easily determined by each of us who has frequented this port, be it as a traveller or as a state employee, progress is noted, but it is also important to note that the need for improvement is great, said Sandra Leshai. The Minister also highlighted the main problems of the Port of Durrës. Act as a united entity was Leshai's message to the agencies operating in the Port of Durrës. The main problem here is that, being a great harbour, there are many authorities. We have the Port Authority, the State Police, the National Food Authority, Customs and other structures which all have their own priorities and areas of focus. This makes the management of the port as one entity very complex. The problems identified in this port are mainly issues related to trafficking, contraband and evasion, but also security-related issues. I'm not talking about internal security of the port itself, but at security of a national level. Therefore, we need to deepen interventions in order to improve the functional standards of all institutions that operate in the port, concluded Leshai. It seems that it's not just roads and airports that are being forgotten by the Ministry of Infrastructure and Energy. It has come to light that additionally, the Minister, Belinda Balaku, has failed to apply the recommendations provided by the Competition Authority in regards to car insurance. During the annual reporting to the Economics Committee, the head of this institution stated that the Ministry did not take into action any of the recommendations relating to market liberalisation. Even the chairman of the Economic Committee, Arben Ahmetai, expressed concern about the lack of implementation. Another point raised at the committee meeting was the concerning fact that the cost of air travel in and out of Albania is currently the most expensive in the region. The chair of the Economics Committee, Arben Ahmetai, asked the Competition Authority to deepen its investigations in this sector, as such high prices have a negative impact on the citizens. During 2018, the Competition Authority imposed fines to the value of approximately 269 million lek on companies that were found to have violated competition laws. Acting Chief Prosecutor Arta Marku issued the annual criminality analysis report for Vlora today. In the statement, it was determined that the coastal city has the highest level of criminality in the country, whilst alleging that a large part of the events are not investigated. The level of criminality is higher in Vlora than in Fier, Berat and Lushnja. The country's most violent events have occurred in the city of Vlora, and a large part of them are still undiscovered, explained Arta Marku. Marku requested improved collaborative efforts with police in order to clear up the events. I regretfully admit that I have seen the indifference in the actions of the prosecution and the state police when it comes to these events. I'm not here to judge the work of other institutions, but of course I can ask for increased cooperation from the state police and other law enforcement agencies from the moment the event has occurred until the matter has been cleared. No institute can work alone and achieve the desired results. You are now independent in your work, and soon will come the moment that responsibility for any failure will be held personally. It is a matter of time for some pseudo-jurists or pseudo-analysts to understand your independence and to know where to look for responsibilities, concluded Arta Marku. The University of Medicine's auditors have announced that fewer students will be accepted this academic year. By decision of the Academic Senate, the university has decided to reduce the number of places by 117 from the 1,356 offered last academic year to 1,239 being offered for the next academic year. The Faculty of Medical Technical Sciences is the most impacted by the decision, offering places for a total of 87 less students, as well as the Faculty of Dental Medicine with 32 students. Questioned by RTV Ora, the Dean of the University stated that the reasons related to a lack of opportunities in the labour market for branches such as speech therapy or physiotherapy, as well as the capacities of the university. The most sought-after study programs like general medicine and nursing will continue to accept the same number of students. The University of Medicine has also published the criteria for the receipt of a placement offer. Unlike 2018, the average grade of the state matura exams is 40%. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join us again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of RTV Ora, thank you and good night.